You bring a dog into your home, fill their bed with toys, make sure they eat well, and give them what feels like an endless supply of affection. It is a comfortable life that any animal should be grateful for. But then you start noticing the distance. Your dog hesitates when you reach for them. They stop coming when called, or they choose to sit just far enough down the couch that you can't quite touch them. This withdrawal rarely comes from obvious neglect or harsh mistreatment. It usually happens on a completely normal Tuesday, buried in daily routines that look indistinguishable from love. We navigate our lives using human emotional language, and we project that exact same language onto our dogs. That creates a massive daily cross-species translation error. What you intend as a gesture of bonding, your dog frequently processes as a threat. You cannot repair a fracturing bond if you do not even realize it is broken. As long as your affection is being translated into canine pressure, the distance between you and your dog is only going to grow. When you walk through the front door after a long day, it feels completely natural to drop your bags, wrap your arms around your dog, and match their wildly spinning, jumping energy. But dogs did not evolve to hug. In canine biology, placing a limb or heavy body weight over another animal is a direct social signal of dominance and spatial constraint. To a dog, this feels like an act of physical pressure and constraint. This biological diagram shows a dog's sympathetic nervous system, the network responsible for fight or flight responses. When a dog reaches a frenzied, uncontrollable pitch of excitement at the front door, the brain enters a state of severe emotional dysregulation, pushed far beyond the threshold of calm happiness. As those stress indicators expand, the dog's thinking brain, the canine equivalent of the prefrontal cortex, effectively powers down. In this state, they are physically incapable of thinking or learning. They are strictly reacting to an overwhelmed nervous system. By hyping them up and rewarding that frantic display, we condition our dogs to spend their lives in a state of chronic biological stress disguised as happiness. We also assume dogs understand our social flexibility. We let them on the couch on weekends, but scold them on weekdays. We use a sharp no or a quick squirt from a water bottle to correct misbehavior, assuming they grasp the lesson. Dogs lack the neurological hardware for contextual reasoning. They do not understand that the rules changed because you are wearing your work clothes today. They simply experience an environment where the exact same behavior yields entirely random results. This timeline illustrates how canine associative memory actually works. Because dogs learn through immediate association, a delayed mild punishment doesn't map to the mess they made on the rug an hour ago. It maps directly to the most prominent thing in the room at that moment, you. A 2019 study out of the University of Porto measured the long-term effects of these aversive methods. The researchers found that dogs subjected to punishment-based training developed a lasting, pessimistic cognitive bias. Over time, they became demonstrably more anxious and less optimistic. Those mild corrections and shifting boundaries do not create obedient dogs. They trap the animal in a persistent, low-level state of anxiety, constantly trying to navigate unpredictable rules alongside an owner they no longer view as safe. Then there is the routine of the 10-minute walk around the neighborhood. For most dogs, a slow stroll while we check our phones barely registers as a warm-up. Dogs require genuine heart rate elevating exertion. Intense muscular movement is the specific biological mechanism they use to discharge accumulated stress hormones from their bodies. When those hormones have nowhere to go, they manifest as leash reactivity, destructive chewing, and endless pacing. We label these as behavioral problems when they are actually unspent biological energy desperately looking for an exit. By providing this physical release, you transition from a person who simply provides food to a partner in a shared physical experience. A dog that explores and exhausts their muscles alongside you begins to view you as the center of their world because you have become the catalyst for their most vital biological needs. All of these missteps compound into one pervasive habit: owners completely ignoring the precise, nonverbal language their dogs use to communicate every single day. Scientists call this vocabulary calming signals. It is a highly specific set of physical movements dogs use to communicate their discomfort and attempt to de-escalate tension before it turns into conflict. When your dog yawns while you are scolding them, they are attempting to de-escalate the tension in the room. This displacement behavior, along with lip licking and sniffing the ground, serves as a calculated word in the canine vocabulary meant to reduce conflict. Ethologists have documented over 30 distinct calming signals used by dogs worldwide. The average owner might recognize one or two of them. By missing these signals entirely, we force our dogs into a one-sided conversation where their boundaries and warnings are continually ignored. When an animal realizes their warnings never work, their behavior shifts. They do not necessarily lash out. Instead, they simply stop trying to communicate. This leads to a state of quiet defeat. On the surface, the dog looks fine. They sit still, they take the petting, and they follow commands. But emotionally, they have completely disconnected from the human. A 2020 study in Scientific Reports demonstrated that when owners consistently and accurately responded to these subtle canine signals, their dogs showed significantly lower baseline cortisol levels and formed measurably stronger social bonds. The solution requires slowing down. It means letting go of human emotional assumptions and actively watching the animal in front of you, noticing the weight shift before they look away, or the ears pulling back before the tail tucks. The moment you start listening to their native language, the dynamic changes. The relationship stops being a situation your dog silently endures and becomes a partnership built on freely chosen trust.